Hey guys, welcome to Homework Help for Year 8, Term 3, Week 3. Now for homework, we're told to do set 7 on page 22, and set 7 starts with the question 7 saying the triangle in each figure are similar. For each of the following figures, part 1 says redraw the triangle separately showing the equal angles and any sides marked. And part 2 says use the scale factor to find the value of the pronumerals. The scale factor. Okay. So let's have a look at the first one, 7a. Let's have a look. Okay. So we can tell that these two angles are the same because they're vertically opposite angles. Now you got two parallel lines. Right. And if I was to draw, and this line can be considered the transversal line that passes through the two parallel lines, which means that these two angles are indeed equal. Okay, now we have another transversal line, which means that these two angles are also equal. Okay, so we have three angles that are equal, which means that they're similar triangles. Okay, now it says we have to redraw the triangle, so I'm just going to do a real quick one like this. So part 1, you can say like this. This will be 15, this will be A, and I'm going to redraw the second triangle, also upside down. Okay, that's a bad drawing. We'll do it again. Something like that, and this will be 5. Let me see, I'm gonna have to flip this one around. So this triangle, you see this one is equal to this one, right? So that means I have to flip it around. So that means that let me see, the 2's on that side. So if I draw it like this, so the 2 must be on this side. Okay, and I think that's it. Okay, the scale factor. So let's look at how much one of the triangle has been enlarged by the scale. So as you can see, one of the unit is 5 and the other unit is 15. So that means that, now by the way, because we've redrawn the triangle to look exactly the same, I mean they're similar after all, and we've drawn it in the same order. Okay, so the angle X on this side, angle X on this side. Okay, the angle with double lines is also a double line here, and the circle is circle there. They're all, matching right now. So which means that all the length must be matching. So this 5 and this 15 is matching. Okay, now let's see what's happened here. So to get from 5 to 15, that means we have to multiply by 3, isn't it? So that means that this length is 3 times bigger than this length. So that means that this triangle on the left is 3 times larger than the triangle on the right. And how do I know that? Because I know that they're similar triangles, and I know that one of the length is 3 times larger than the other one. So that means the rest of them is also going to be 3 times larger. So if this is 2, that means that this times it by 3, this A should be equal to 6. So part 2 of the question is to get A equals 6. It says find the value of the pronumerals, which we just did here. Alright, question B. Let's see. So we have this angle is equal to this angle because they're vertically opposite. This angle is equal to this angle because they're alternate angles. And this angle is equal to this angle. Okay, so let's redraw the triangle. I'm gonna redraw the top. I'm gonna redraw the bottom one first here. So I'm gonna have this one here. Whoops. Something like that. Oops. Whoops. And let's redraw the top one. Let's flip it around, and you will get. Okay, let's redraw the top one to look like this. Wait, nope. Okay, that doesn't look right. Something like that, okay? It's not exactly the same. Now I want the circle to be here. If a circle is there, what length is this? Well, opposite of the circle is we have the length 18. So I'm going to write 18 here. And also I want the x to be here. Opposite the x is going to be equal to 14. So this must be 14. And the other side is not listed. Okay, so what about this one? This one you have 9 and you have k. Alright. Now let's look. Now that they're, drawn to be matching angles, this angle match this one and so on and so forth. We can see that 9 is the matching the 18. Okay, so this. Now the 9 has been multiplied by a certain number, obviously it's 2. 9 times 2 equals to 18. That means that this triangle here is 2 times bigger than the triangle on the left. Okay, there's a factor of 2. It's been expanded. The left triangle has been expanded by a factor of 2 to produce this triangle. So if it has been expanded by a factor of 2, that means all the lengths must be multiplied by 2, must be doubled. Okay, so this one is 9, so this turns into 18. Now this is k. So if we double k, we get 14. So 2 times k will give us 14. What's k? Well, obviously k must be 7. Or you can do the equation and divide both sides by 2. And you get k is equal to 7 meters. There's your answer. I think this one's also meters as well. Yep. So there's your part 1 and part 2 answered. Okay. I think you can do this one by yourself. I'll just give you a little hint. So, oops. So this one would be the same. These two angles would be the same. This angle would be the same as this angle. So let me mark that. Whoops. With a dot. And this one is a dot. And this angle is equal to this angle. Because the same reason. Alternate angles. So now you can draw the two. So I'll draw the first one. So let's draw this triangle like this. Something like this, right? It's not perfect. This is that one, and that one. And let's draw the other triangle the same thing. So I'm going to do another triangle that looks like that. And now I'm going to label this one as it is. So this will be 12 and this will be 9. Now, okay, so I'm going to do this triangle maybe in blue. Might be better. Oops. That's not blue. Okay, so that's that one there. Alright, so let's see. We want the circle to be there, and we want the X to be there, and we want the dot to be there. Now let's have a look. The length 6 here is opposite the cross. So opposite the cross would be this length here, which is 6. So that should be 6. Now let the length P is opposite the angle that is the open circle. So open circle length opposite of that, this must be P. Okay, so there we go. And you can see this one is from 6 to 9. Okay, so what's happened? From 6 to get to 9, what do we multiply by? So 6 times something, let's call it x. This is the factor. Okay, this is the expansion factor. We can call this expanding factor. Okay, so 6 times something is equal to 9. So the something, to get x, we just divide both sides by 6. So x is equal to 9 over 6. Let's put it as a fraction. Well, let me just change this back to red. So x is equal to 9 over 6. Let's simplify that. Divide top and bottom by 3. You get 3 over 2. So that means that 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So that means that everything has been expanded by 1.5. If you multiply 6 by 1.5, you'll get 9. Now to get this number, the value of p, so that means that we know that, I have no more room, I'm gonna write up here. So we know that p times 1.5 is equal to, what do we have here? P times 1.5 will give you this length here. The corresponding length will be 12. Okay, so p times 1.5 is equal to 12, so p is equal to 12 divided by 1.5. Or just do the fraction way, and this will be 12 divided by 3 on 2. And let's do that. 12 over 1 times it by 2 over 3. We can simplify this stupid thing. Hold on. Okay, simplify, this will be 1, this will be 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Therefore, p must be 8. I said I was supposed to give you a hint, but actually gave you the answer. So anyway, that looks tricky enough for that kind of help. Okay, let's go to the next page. The triangle in each figure are similar. For each of the following figures, redraw the triangle separately, showing the equal angles and any equal sides marked. Use the scale factor to find the value of the pronumerals. All measurements are in millimeters. Okay, so we're doing the same thing as the previous question. So maybe I'll just do, let me see, I'll do the question, I'll do these, maybe these 2 or 3, I'll do these 2, okay. The rest you can do on your own, I think. I'm pretty sure you, yep. Okay, so let's do question E. So we know this triangle is similar to this triangle. Okay, all the angles are the same. We know that this angle is equal to this angle. This angle's, actually let me label them properly. So I'm going to put this as a dot, this will also be a dot. And the reason is because you got 2 parallel lines, right? And you have a transversal line. So therefore this angle is equal to this angle. These are called corresponding angles. Right. And these are also corresponding angles. And they both share this angle here. So whether you're talking about this triangle or you're talking about this triangle, they both share that last angle there. So all the angles are the same, therefore they're similar triangles. Now, since they're similar triangles, whoops, I'm going to redraw these 2 triangles out. So I'll draw the small one. Okay. And I'll draw the big one. Okay, so let's look at the small one. The small one has a length b, so this is length b, this is length 5. And we don't know the other one, we don't need to worry about that. Now the big one, let's look at the big one. Big one has an 8 as that one, and 6 as this one. Okay. So let's have a look here. Wait, did I write something wrong? Hold on, this is not 5, sorry, that's my mistake. This is supposed to be B. Okay. So, let's see. So we can look at these 2 lengths. These are the corresponding lengths. Okay, these 2 lengths are like linked together. So whatever scale factor happens, it's going to affect these 2. So from 5 to 6, so 5 times the scale factor, let's call the scale factor x, is equal to 6. So x is equal to, we divide both sides by 5, we get 6 divided by 5. So x, the scale factor is 6 on 5. Or if you want to change that to mixed numerals, you can say that's 1 and 1 on 5, which is 1.2. The scale factor is 1.2. Okay, but I'm not gonna go to, I don't like using decimals, so I'm just gonna leave it as 6 on 5. So to get from B to 8, that means we know that the scale factor is 6.5. That means that we multiply any length by 6 over 5 from the small one to get to the big one. So that means that B must be multiplied with a scale factor of 6, whoops, keep writing decimals, multiplied by the scale factor 6 on 5, and that'll give you the 8. So how do we find b? Well, let's think of this as an equation. So 6 over 5 times by b is equal to 8. So how do we get to b? We divide both sides by 6 on 5. Divided by 6 on 5. So therefore, b is equal to 8 over 1 divided by 6 over 5. Let's process this fraction. This will be 8 over 1 times by 5 over 6. Now, let's simplify. This can be divided by 2. You will get 3. Divide this by 2, you will get 4. So you're going to get 4 times 5, which is 20, and 1 times 3, which is 3. So the answer is, so that means b is equal to 20 over 3, or we can put that into mixed numeral, and that's going to give us how many 3's in 20? You're going to get 6 and 2 over 3. So b is equal to 6 and 2/3. You can leave it as a fraction, it's fine. And this will be millimeters. Unless the question states you have to leave it as decimal, you can change it to decimal. You can say 6.66 millimeters. Because I think all the units are in millimeters. Yep. Okay, so there's your answer for that one. Wow. Alright, so that's question E. Let's look at question F. Now question F, same deal. I'm going to draw the two triangles, so here we go. This is a small triangle and this is the big triangle. Now again, these two are the same. These two are the same and they both share that one. So here you have your dot, your X and your circle, your dot, your X and your circle. Make sure to, that all the angles are matching up. Okay, and now let's see. So the small one, let's look at the small one. Okay, this is 12, so this must be 12, and this is W, so this is W here. Okay, and look at the big one. This must be 15, and this one given to us is 40. Okay, so let's see. So from 12 to 15, what are we going to do? We can say 12 times by x is equal to 15. So therefore x is equal to, divide both sides by 12, is equal to, let me just move this down here. X is equal to 15 divided by 12. Let's simplify this. The top and bottom can be divisible by 3, so I can divide them by 3 and say that's going to be 5 over 4. So the scale factor is 5 over 4. Now if you want to get fancy, you can say that's same as 1 1/4, which is same as 1.25. Everything has been enlarged by a factor of 1.25. Okay, now, but I don't like to use I mean, you can leave it as that, but I'm going to leave it as a fraction. Okay, now we want to know from W, from W to 40. What number must W be? Well, let's do the equation. W times by the enlargement factor, which is 5 on 4, and that'll give us the number there, which is 40. So how do we get the value of W? Well, we divide both sides by 5 on 4. Or if you want to use a calculator, just divide both sides by 1.25. Anyway, I'm going to use the no calculator. So W is equal to 40 over 1 divided by 5 over 4. So let's process that. 40 over 1 times it by 4 over 5. Now don't try and simplify this, okay? You should change it to the multiply first and then simplify it. Okay. Now I can divide this by 5, I get 1, divide this by 5, I get 8. So we have 8 times 4, and that's going to give us 32, and over 1 times 1, which is 1. So W is a whole number. So W is equal to 32. There's your answer. So 32 times it by 1.25 and you get 40. Simple. Alright, next page. Now, find the value of all pronumerals in these similar triangles. All measurements are in centimeters. Okay, no problem. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, so before we continue, we have to know which angle refers to is which angle. Okay, so we have to kind of like angle match them first. So we know that this angle is equal to this angle, vertically opposite angles. We know that this angle is equal to this angle because they're alternate angles, and we know that this angle and this angles are equal because they're alternate angles. Like I said, you got two parallel lines. You have a transversal line, so therefore this angle is equal to this angle, alternate angles. Right. Now that we've matched up the angles, we can use similar triangles to figure out missing lengths or angles. In this case, missing lengths. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I want to find the length B. Now the length B is opposite the angle that is a dot. So opposite the angle with a dot is your 3. Now we can use all sorts of ratios here. I could say that 3 over I could say 3 over 4, for example. So 3 over 4. These are all of these numbers are the small triangles. So all of these numbers must be from the big triangle. So 3 over 4, that's gonna be equal to something over something else. Now 3 is corresponding to this angle, this length here, which is B. Now the 4 is opposite the angle that has a open circle. So open circle also has this one, so that'll be over 12. So B over 12. So 3 over 4 equals B over 12. Now we can do cross multiply to find out the value of B. Okay, so I can say 4 times B is equal to 3 times 12. So 4B equals to 36. So how do we find B? We divide both sides by 4, and we get B is equal to 36 divided by 4, which equals to 9. So there you go. We found out B. This is one way you can do it. There's other ways, but I'm just going to show you a couple of ways. So that's the first way you can do it. So B equals to 9. Another way you can do this, let me rub all this out. The angle with the open circle, opposite that angle is the 4 for the small triangle. Now opposite the angle with a circle, open circle, for the big triangle is 12. So how do we get from 4 to 12? 4 times what factor will give me 12? And that factor is going to equal to 3. We can figure it out. Okay, so that means that this length is 4. If you multiply that by 3, you're going to get this length. These are corresponding lengths. Now, that means that the expanding factor of these two triangles is to get from the small one to the big one. Whoops. To get from the small one to the big one, we have to multiply all the lengths by 3. It's expanded by 3 times as large. Okay, so if I want to see how, let me see, hold on. Let me just clean this up, it's a bit messy here. This is the dot and this is the X. Okay, now if I want to know what B is, I need to know that what angle is the length B opposite to. It's opposite to the dot. And let's look at the small triangle. Opposite to the dot is 3. Now 3 times of 3, because we know that the expanding factor is 3, is equal to 9. So B must equal to 9. Now C is opposite the angle that is across. and opposite the angle with a cross for the small triangle is a 6. Now the 6 has been expanded by a factor of 3, and that'll give you this one. So C is equal to 3 times 6 equals to 18. So there's all your answer. Okay, B is equal to 9, C is equal to 18. 2 ways you can solve the problem. You can do the rest on your own for that one, for question 10. I'm going to move on. Okay, Karab wishes to measure her height, but has no one to help her. So she stands in the sun and takes a careful note of where her shadow ends. She then places a stick vertically in the ground and measures its height and the length of its shadow. The results of her measurements are shown on the diagram. How tall is Karab? Okay, so we're going to use similar triangles. You can see here that we have a similar triangle. Okay, so we have this triangle here. Versus this triangle here. There you go. Now, we know that the sun's rays tends to be very, tends to, you know, to shine at a certain angle. So whatever the angle that is, whatever angle, we don't need to know what angle it is, we just need to know that these two angles, so let me just, I'm going to put a dot here, this angle with a dot is equal to this angle. And this is a 90 degrees, okay. This is also 90 degrees, and this dot, I'm just going to put an X here, so this will be an X as well. So we got two similar triangles. Now let's use the similar triangles to figure out what Karab's height is. I'm going to use, now remember I showed you two methods in the question 9a. I'm going to use the first method. I'm going to say, let me see. I'm going to say that this length here, 60 over 75. So 60 over 75 is equal to her height over, so let's call her height h. So let h equal to height of Karab. So that'll be h over 180. And they're all in centimeters, so we can just leave it like that. Okay, now we can work out what h is by using cross multiply. So we can multiply these two numbers and these two numbers. So we can say 75 times h is equal to 60 times 180. Yeah. So 6 times 18. What's 6 times 18? Let me just work that out real quick. 6 8s are 48. 108. Okay, so this will be equal to 10800 equals to 75h. So therefore h is equal to that number divided by 75. I'm just going to use a calculator because I can't be bothered doing this long division. And that'll give you h, and that'll be one. Actually, I'll let you work it out. Actually, I should be giving answers away, so alright, you can work that out. That'll be in centimeters. Okay, everything else is centimeters, so this height must also be in centimeters. And question 11 is the same thing. So you can say you got two similar triangles here. You got the small one, and why is this so? Okay, so you got a small one, and you have the big triangle, which is like this. Right? Obviously they're overlapping each other. I purposely drew them outside, but anyway, these two are 90 degrees. They both share this angle here, which I'll put an X. Okay. And this angle must equal to this angle. Similar triangles. Now we can say that, okay, we can say this length here 3.2, I think. Let me rub it out. Yep, 3.2. So I can say 3.2 divided by, let's take this length divided by this length. So it'll be 4.8 equals. Now we can do the big, that's for the small triangle, okay? Now let's look at the big triangle. Let me rub this out. So the big triangle, so when you do the bottom number, which is 3.2 divided by the height of that triangle, so you got to find the bottom number of the big triangle, which is the 12.8 divided by the height of the building, which we don't know. Let's call it H. There we go. Is it a building or? Okay, yes, it is. Okay, so now again we use cross multiply. I'm gonna say that 3.2 times H is equal to 4.8 times 12.8. So this will be 3.2H is equal to, let me double check this, 4.8 times 12.8 equals to 61.44, and you can work out H by yourself. And that will be in meters, I believe. Another situation where we're using similar triangles to work out. Here we go. Question 12. A 4-meter ladder has a strut 60 centimeters long. So the strut is the middle part here. And it's 1.5 meters from the top. Okay. How far apart are the feet of the ladder? Okay, so the question is, what is this length here? Let's call it X. So you got two triangles. I'm going to redraw this triangle. That's the ladder. The strut is parallel to the floor, obviously, so that's parallel. And this is 1.5 meters. And this is 4 meters. Okay. And what else we got here? This would be 60 centimeters. Now be careful, this one is in centimeters and this one's in meters. Okay, so I don't know, I could probably change this one to meters. So instead of saying 60 centimeters, I'm gonna say 0.6 meters. Everything else is in meters, might as well make that one into meters. Excuse my voice. Okay, so what we do next is we say, I can say, I don't know, 0.6 over 1.5. So this length divided by this length is going to equal to this length, which is X, divided by this length. Okay, similar triangles. So we can say X divided by 4. Now let's change this one into whole numbers. Okay, 0.6 over 1.5, let's times top and bottom by 10. And that's going to give you 6 over 15. Oops. Now let's divide that by 3. Simplify that, and you're going to get 2 over 5. Okay, so let's use that instead of 0.6 over 1.5. So we can say, here I can say X over 4 is equal to 2 over 5. Now we just do cross multiply. 5 times X is equal to 2 times 4, which is 8. X is equal to 8 over 5. And that will be in meters. What's 8 divided by 5? Let's turn it into a mixed numeral. 8 divided by 5 is 1, remainder 3 over 5. Now that's equal to 3 over 5 is 6, 1.6 meters. Or you could say that's 160 centimeters. Either answer would be the correct one. Alright, I think that's the last one. Yep, that's it. Hope that helps.